Everybody, it's Leroy from Leroy Gaming, and today I'm bringing you my Starfield social skill guide, where I review all of the social skills in each of their 4 ranks. In Starfield, you only get 1 skill point per level, but there are hundreds of skill ranks in the game and no way to respec. This guide is meant to help you understand what social skills are worth taking, which you are likely to regret picking. In this guide, you will learn not only which skills are good, but also which of the 4 ranks within each skill are worth your time. So drop a like if you find this video helpful, and join me as I rate all the social skills in Starfield. Alright, we're going to begin with the basics, and that's understanding how the social skill tree works in general. So there are 4 skill tiers here. At the beginning, you could put points into the first tier, and before you can unlock the second tier, you have to put 3 points within the first tier. Now this could be 1 point in 3 different skills, or for example, you could put 3 points into scavenging as an example, and that would also unlock tier 2. Once you're in tier 2, you need to put a total of 7 points into tier 1 and 2 combined before you unlock tier 3. Do note that you could, for example, put 7 across tier 1, and that's the same as 3 across 1 and 4 across 2. And then finally, to unlock tier 4, you're going to put a total of 11 points across tier 1, 2, and 3 in any combination before you can unlock the final tier. And that's all you need to know to understand the basics of the skill tier system. So we're going to go ahead and start out with tier 1 skills. We start with commerce. Now this is very straightforward. With each rank, you're going to start with buying for 5% less and selling for 10% more. Now considering how rare skill points are compared to anything else, buying for 20% less and then selling to get 25% more is definitely not worth it in my opinion. Next we have gastronomy, and this basically lets you craft special food and drinks. You can research new ones, and as you go up the ranks, you're going to be able to craft better and better food and drinks, with rank 4 making it so that you don't use up resources when crafting food and drinks eventually, and also gain the ability to research and craft the most powerful recipes. Now, I will say that food and drink is completely optional in this game. The majority of the medicine items as a comparison are going to be more powerful. With that being said, if you want to roleplay or you just want some additional bonuses, which are decent but definitely not necessary, then this could be a fun distraction. However, if you're trying to be the most efficient, this is not the route to go down. Next, we have persuasion. And if you are going to try and complete persuasion checks with NPCs, then you 100% will want to go down this route. It may not seem like a lot, but getting even 10% increased chance to succeed when persuading can really help out. For the first 3 ranks, it's going to be 10% extra. Do note you can easily get some clothing that will give you an extra 5% even at the very beginning of the game. And then rank 4 is special because it's going to jump an extra 10%. So instead of going to 40, it goes all the way to 50. And in this game, you can avoid a lot of combats and a lot of legwork within quests if you can persuade somebody successfully. So this is definitely a field that if you're going to commit to it, definitely continuously update this as soon as you can qualify for the next rank. Next we have scavenging, and right off the bat I'll say that overall this is one of my favorite perks in the game. Right off the bat, you're going to at rank 1 have a chance to find extra credits when searching containers, but then you're gonna be able to find extra ammo when searching containers, and if you're gonna be using guns in this game, you will go through a ton of ammo. This can really add up and help out where you're not gonna have to go and buy ammo from vendors nearly as much. And then really the key rank that you want is rank 3, where you're going to get a chance to find extra aid items like med packs or chems when searching containers. and this can really help you out with survivals. Rank 4 is a complete luxury. You can already track resources when you look at recipes that require them, and you can kind of tag those resources. But now this is going to highlight them when you're using a hand scanner. So when you're running around the world, this makes it a lot easier to kind of home in on the things you need. So great quality of life, but it is by no means necessary. And finally, we have theft. So you need the skill just to unlock the ability to pickpocket. If you're gonna be going down a thief, smuggler playstyle, this is pretty cool for roleplay. I do want to point out that this is by no means the way to get rich as a thief. However, you can bypass certain parts of quests. So for example, if you're not able to persuade somebody in a quest line to give you something, you may be able to pickpocket them and steal items. So it's more of a roleplay utility as opposed to just steal a bunch of items and sell them for profits. Rank 2 is going to give you a higher chance to pickpocket, and rank 3 is going to go 30%. Rank 4 can be pretty funny because you can now pickpocket holstered weapons. Do note that these percentages, 10% greater, 30%, 50%, is on top of a kind of a hidden baseline. I don't know what that baseline is. The main thing I will say here is that this is definitely a line that you can completely ignore. The main reason for this is RP, and if you want to play kind of that thief lifestyle, go smuggler, go rogue, then go into this, and then you might as well go all in so that you maximize the chance of pickpocketing. Now, if you want to save scum, then you don't really need this. You can just unlock pickpocketing, and then if you fail, you just kind of reload. That is an option, but if you don't want to save scum, then I would definitely say just go all the way to rank 4 so that you have less headaches when robbing people. Okay, next we have tier 2 of the socials. And the first one's going to be deception. And this is interesting because again, this goes with the piracy and smuggler play style. Now do carefully check what this says. It says that ships 10% stronger will automatically surrender to piracy demands, and that enemy contraband scans are 10% less effective. Basically, if you are of a certain power level, perceived power level, there is a chance that ships will automatically surrender when you do piracy demands. This is not 10% higher than your level. It's based off a certain number that the game calculates. Now, the enemy contraband scans are kind of interesting because you can modify your ship to have shielded cargo space. Basically, a certain amount of space where you can put items into your ship inventory and it's not going to be picked up by the scanners. So this 10, 20, 30, and 50% less like for enemy contraband scanners to pick you up is a little questionable. I have not pirated a lot, but I did not find it that effective when I tried it on the lower levels. Again, this seems like something that if you want to roleplay this piracy smuggler, you don't want to have to get into combat with merchant ships, you can try this out, and then at that point you might as well just commit to it and then see how much combat you can avoid. Diplomacy is an interesting skill because it allows you to target NPCs and make them so that they stop fighting for a while. I don't know what the calculation is for the exact duration for it, but what the ranks will do will dictate what level NPCs have to be. Baseline, it's NPCs at your level or below. If you're going to go into this, then I would say get at least rank 2 for them to be at least 10 levels higher than you. And that's a bit of a luxury for 20 at rank 3. What's interesting is rank 4, it says you can force target NPCs to permanently stop fighting unless they're attacked again. If you want to go a diplomatic route and kind of crowd control enemies in a way, this is one way to do it, but I don't think these are very efficient ways of using points. Next we have intimidation, and this is basically the equivalent of like casting fear on an enemy. So you can force enemies to flee for a little amount of time. Rank 1 unlocks the ability, and then rank 2 makes it so you can use it on higher level enemies. Rank 3 continues that trend. And then rank 4 is different because the enemies are not going to flee for a substantial amount of time. I haven't tested rank 4. I don't know the definition directly of substantial here. So if anybody's actually utilized rank 4, do comment below and let us know what the duration difference is. Again, in most cases, it's just simply easier to kill enemies as opposed to try and crowd control them like this. So this is more of a roleplay purpose, or maybe you're fighting a tough fight and you fear the highest level enemy that you're fighting against. Mop up the easy enemies and then go back on the most difficult one. Next, we have isolation, and this situationally is potentially very, very good. So if you want to be an isolationist where you're playing the game and you don't have companions or crew, you get some pretty impressive bonuses. For first playthrough, I do not recommend this because you're going to miss out on so many opportunities to interact with your crew and companions. Also, don't forget that the crew abilities and skills that impact your ship and or your outposts are very powerful. So this is for a very particular playstyle. With that being said, do note that even at rank 1, the 10% weapon damage bonus and 15 damage reduction bonus is per spacesuit and helmet. So assuming you have a spacesuit and a helmet, you can double this. So rank 1, 20% damage increase and 30 damage resistance, then goes up to basically 40% weapon damage and 60 damage resistance, then 60% weapon damage and 90 damage resistance, and then finally 80% weapon damage and 120 damage resistance. Do note that damage resistance is not a percentage, it is a damage resistance rating. So while it can make you extremely deadly, you do sacrifice a ton for this. If you're going for the playstyle, this is S tier. Otherwise, clearly, you ignore this and you never just want to go 1 point into this. If you're going to commit to this, rank this up as quickly as you can. Finally, we have negotiation, and this opens up a brand new speech option when you deal with people, and that's to bribe individuals. You need rank 1 for this even to pop up as an option. Again, if you're going to be kind of a rogue, a smuggler, kind of a con man, being able to bribe people RP wise is very interesting. And then rank 2 and 3 are going to reduce the cost of the bribes by 25 and 50%. Now rank 4, I'm not a huge fan because this says occasionally bribery won't cost any money. I don't know what that hidden modifier is in the back. Are we talking about 20%, 5%, 50%? I'm not sure. Now, if you're very flush with money and you have a ton of cash, because none of these reduce the likelihood of you being able to bribe, simply gives you the ability to bribe, you can always just put 1 point into it if you don't care how expensive the bribe is. But if you're trying to be cost effective to save money, you could put points into this. All right, next we're going to look at tier 3 skills, and we're going to start with instigation. Now this is interesting because unlike the previous abilities that let you crowd control enemies, here you can force targets to attack their allies, which is kind of interesting and bonkers and also messed up. Now, rank 1, 2, and 3 simply make it that it's going to impact higher levels of enemies. Now, do note, it's not uncommon, for example, to see an area where you're fighting level 8 enemies, and then amongst them there's level 14 enemies, and then a more elite enemy will be level 30, for example. Those kind of different ranges of levels are very, very common in this game. So 20 levels above you is not super uncommon, but it can definitely help you maximize the use of this. With that being said, if you're gonna go into instigation, you definitely want to go all the way through rank 4, because at rank 4, enemies will actually attack your allies until they're dead. Otherwise, they're gonna stop previous to them finishing off their allies. And by far my favorite of the enemy manipulation skills. Next, we have leadership. So this is quite the opposite of isolationist. So right off the bat, level 1 companions gain affinity 25% faster. And so this is kind of a prerequisite. At the end of the day, you probably won't notice this effect that much, but it's okay. The reason you get this is because you want to get to the later perks. Number 2, companions have 50 more health, and what you'll notice really soon in this game, they're gonna gain the biggest benefit from that extra 50 kilogram of carry capacity. This game, just like Fallout 4 and other Fallout games, is a hoarder's worst nightmare. So you're constantly going to be filled up on yourself, and you're going to be filling up your companions with loot. So this is very helpful. Rank 3 is pretty nice. I mean, you will occasionally get healed when your health is low, but you can't really count on this going off. The AI isn't that smart, so it's not quite as useful as rank 2. And rank 4 is you double the bonus of combat and physical crew skills. Do note, it's only combat and physical crew skills. Some characters will only have skills that will benefit your ship or outpost, etc. Those bonuses are not doubled. Also, companions have a chance to pick themselves up from a down state. So overall, I will say the most useful of all these perks is actually rank 2. And then I would say, if you really want to go all in, you can go to rank 4 if you want to make it more effective for combat. And that's normally going to be just that one companion that's going to join you on the map to go fighting. All right, and finally we have outpost management. And as the name implies, this is all about getting the most out of your outpost development. First, at rank 1, you get additional cargo links can be placed at outposts. Basically, this is a feature where you can interconnect different outposts on different planets so that they can share and send resources to each other. Basically, if a certain outpost creates a certain resource, you need it at a different outpost to create a more advanced resource. This lets you automate it, and there's limitations on how many of these you can make. This lets you do more. Same thing with rank 2, but now you can have extra robots that can assist you. Rank 3 lets additional crew be assigned to outposts. And finally, rank 4, outpost extractors produce twice as fast. So this is all quality of life stuff, and all if you want to get into the outpost development world, which is technically optional. So if this is your cup of tea, definitely go all the way to rank 4. They're all going to be useful, otherwise ignore it. And then finally we have tier 4. We start with manipulation, and this allows you to force target NPCs to obey your commands. And rank 2 and rank 3 are going to make it so it affects more powerful enemies. And then finally, rank 4, manipulated targets now obey commands for a substantial amount of time. So again, this is going to unlock another playstyle. If you want to spend the time to manipulate NPCs, then this could be kind of fun and interesting. Next, you have ship command. And if you want to get the most out of your ship, this is the way to do it. Innately, you can only have 3 active crew members on your ships, no matter your capacity. But with this allows you to get either 4, 5, 6, or 8 active crew members. So if you want to create a giant Class C ship, like a battleship basically, with tons of crew, this is the way to do it. Is it necessary for game completion? Absolutely not. This is for flavor, this is for fun. If you're going the shipbuilding route, I definitely recommend at least that first rank to go up to 4. That's a big difference. Everything above that is a luxury. And then finally we have xenosociology. So this is a manipulation action like the previous ones for crowd control, but not specific to contacting and triggering on aliens. So rank 1 lets you do it on target aliens that are 10 levels above you. And the first ability is to just have them stop fighting you. Rank 2 has the same level requirement, but now they will flee. And rank 4 is going to have the same level requirement, but now you can get them to attack their alien allies. While finally rank 4, same level requirement, but they will obey your commands. I would say that if you're going to go into this, the magic spot is rank 3, so you can get them to attack their allies. Alright guys, so that brings us to the end of the Starfield social skill guide. Hope you found it helpful. If you did, make sure to drop a like. If you have any questions about these skills, make sure to leave them in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer them for you. Do look out for my other guides covering all the other skill trees. Make sure to subscribe to be notified when those videos drop. And as always, thank you for your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.